Okay, everybody. So, welcome to today's episode. And today I have the incredible Irene Perdomo on the episode today. So, hello, Irene.
Hi, Vidya. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm great. I'm great. How are you doing today? This is a very hot, sunny day in London. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, well, I have a strong preference to the cold,
Yeah,
but yeah, okay-ish. Let's put this with the heat.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, you're used to, well, yeah, this is the South American weather, right? Which is where you're from.
well,
So,
actually, I'm a flow South America because South Americans love the heat and I like the cold. So I'm a bad South American.
oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's true. I never thought of it like
Exactly.
that. So we have
So,
Irene. I'll let Irene introduce herself in a second, but she is a powerhouse. Okay, so she is an incredible leader. She's a mom. She's a wife as well. She's got two gorgeous little boys. She's a guest lecturer at Imperial College London. She also speaks for the Financial Times, and she has a huge wealth of experience in finance as well. And I'll let her just add further to introduce yourself as well.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much for a very kind introduction. Yes, I've been working in finance for a bit less than 2 decades. My background is computer engineer, but then I switched I moved to finance in 2007. And yes, and I've been working for banks, hedge funds, for the last 15, 16 years. At the moment, I'm a portfolio manager for an American hedge fund called DRW. And by the way, on this note, any views that I'm going to say here are just mine. I'm not representing the company's view in any shape or form.
Absolutely.
Just need to say that disclaimer. So and then yeah, and also as you mentioned, Vidya, I do guess I've been guest lecturing at Imperial for almost 8 years now, and yeah, and 10 years, no, 12 years ago, I also co-authored a finance book that was published
Oh, yes.
by Wiley. Yeah, and yes, and as a result, I have some white hair, but dealing with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on. So, for the listeners, as you know, this is the Wealthy Warrior Leadership journey that we're on, right? Like the embodiment of that for however it is that you serve and contribute to the world and all of your roles, mom, leader, corporate, entrepreneurship, or all of it. And so what we want to do today in this conversation with the beautiful Irene have a conversation about those characteristic pieces, right? Because it's not always the strategy, it is the gap, right? Like we know what to do, sometimes we have this vision and then there's like actually doing it, and there's often the gap. And to close that gap, that's what I really want to talk about. Like, this is where we're at in our journey. So Irene, you've been on an incredible journey already, as you've mentioned, your wealth of experience. So what I would love to know is, you've also co-founded your own firm as well, your own charity, and obviously leading as a portfolio manager. And I'd just love to know, like, what do you feel are your values, like your inner compass, your inner warrior compass that really guides you? Do you have like spiritual practices that you flow, like journaling, meditation? Like, how do you really help to like anchor it in, especially during challenging times?
Sure. I wouldn't say I'm a religious person, but I do believe strongly in God
Yes.
and in saints. So I think I always say, I tell to myself, okay, God will help me,
Yeah.
and I believe a lot in good karma that you can build. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I believe a lot in working on yourself, on the because obviously we all bring luggage from childhood, from if you believe in other life, maybe from other life, whatever you believe in, but we all have luggage one way or another,
Yes.
and we all have probably different things that we can improve. No,
Mm,
so I believe a lot in doing a lot of work, internal work, I've been doing that through coaching for a long time, for many years, and that has helped me to understand myself better. And for me, I always try to be a good person, and I always say if I do something bad, it's certainly without intention. Okay, and but I try to become a better person. I think when you, it's not that you do it because you want some reward from life, but I just think that you feel good about doing good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think things just flow, and you attract, and then you attract what you give. Okay, if you give good, you get back good. I
Yes.
mean, in a way, because obviously when you are doing well in life, it's a mix of, I guess, of obviously putting a lot of effort from yourself, but also you need a bit of, let's call it, just for the lack of a better word, luck. Okay, and that luck, I think, is the consequence of doing good and attracting good. And some people might be thinking, yeah, I'm good, but still this happened to me. And of course, many bad things has happened to me in my life. I mean, actually quite bad. And but I take them as learning opportunities. I try not to say, become angry, or I don't like this type of bad feelings inside me. So I try to take those feelings out of my system as quickly as I can. And I try to say, okay, if this is happening to me, it must be a reason. And I need to learn something out of this. I went through quite hard times in obviously my journey, So, but I try to take them. Obviously, it's not, maybe what I'm telling you now is not what I would have said when I was in my 20s. But over the years, I hope I learned that when something bad happened, and in generally bad things happens all together, there is some thing, I don't know, but not only to me, but I heard many people say, no, I'm having issues at work, I'm having issues at home, and blah. So there is this coincidence of fact, I don't know, of event, let's call it this way, that bad thing happen all together. And I think it's life telling us, okay, well, you need to take a different direction, or you need to learn something from this, and take a different path or learn, because life, I think, can be quite stubborn. So if you decide not to learn, they will put another situation until you learn whatever you are meant to learn.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so I think I try to always take a positive approach to life, even when bad things happen to me, which by all means it has happened. And I always say I have never achieved anything in my life at the first attempt, not even at the second or the third, I would say. I have always have to try many times before getting where I want to be.
Yes, absolutely. And how what I often feel is that when it is sort of like many things happening in like one go at that time, it's often like a vibration, that we're in. I feel like you can call it vibration, or you can call it like emotions, but often that emotion of, say, fear, right? So when something happens, we have a choice. Like we can fear, there's a fear road, and there is faith. And by faith, whether you call it religious or not, but yeah, like spirituality, right? So faith in yourself, faith in God, the divine, faith in your strategy, right? Faith in your direction, faith in your family, all of those things. And I feel like when we're in, like, it's like a pair of glasses, when we've got like the fear glasses on, it's just all we can see. So we see it at home, we see it at work, we see it in everything. We see it maybe in the news, like there's other things happening in the world, but all we can see is all of that stuff, right? It's literally like a pair of glasses, and it's literally screening out everything else that's even good. It's not quite binary, it's not like exactly black and white, right? But it's like majority. And sometimes, it is an element, I feel, of like almost snapping out of it. But first we need that self-awareness, right? Of like, oh, okay, I can see how I've got myself into fear. And yeah, things happen, but again, we have like a choice. Like, okay, so like exactly as you beautifully said, which path do I want to? Is this about a different direction, or maybe I just need to learn something from this? It was like a layer
Exactly.
of knowledge, a layer of awareness, and actually, I kind of needed that because maybe there was like whispers from the universe.
Okay.
I wasn't quite getting it, so sometimes we need to physically see it to be like, oh, okay, right, like there's no way I'm going to forget this message now I can move forward and I get it. So sometimes it's not like it's happening to you. It's like it's almost like it's going to keep happening until you fully are understanding, of that. So I call that
Exactly.
intuition, or like it's a feeling, right? It's not like we get a notification on our phone. Like we're in the fear mode today.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
nothing. That would be great. I'll work on that out. But yeah, it is very much like, especially I think when you and I work, medicine, finance, and quite like logical based, data driven, right, like industries, it can get easy, I feel, sometimes to get caught up in the numbers of all of those things, and actually focus on, okay, what is my intuition telling me? Because that is not something that you can always, it's not like a number, it's a feeling, right? It's less tangible, less
Mhm.
tangible in terms of like the data.
Yeah.
It really comes down to the feeling. So yeah, and that's was something, and just what you mentioned, when several things can happen at the same time, that's often what I find is going on, whether it's myself or patients or clients. I'm like, it's normally because that's just the level of vibration you're in at the moment.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've heard of the Hawkins law. It's like a pyramid of like all the different like emotions. um
Mhm.
so basically you have like the lowest emotions, lowest vibrations, which is anger, fear, shame, guilt, right? We all feel it. They're normal emotions, but we don't want to be in that emotion like predominantly, right? And then
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
high level emotions, which is like love, which is the highest, love for self, love for others, peace. But we also have apathy in terms of like acceptance, if that makes sense, of like, okay, it is what it
Yeah.
is. What's the best that we can do with this? And so it's almost like, I like to see it as like it's almost like a radio station. So when you're on
Mhm.
one of those vibrations, like, I'm in faith, I don't know what the plan is, but I know God will find some way, right? So if this is not rejection, this is a redirection, it's protection.
Exactly.
And okay, it doesn't feel right, but it's happened in this way, especially when you put in your all, right? Especially when it happens, because then, okay, well, maybe that's not the right way. Maybe I shouldn't be, it needs to be balanced, right? So yeah, I thought.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's in a way, I found that life is perfect, and that doesn't mean that it's always good, or but I, I think it all happened for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's something I learned after decades of
Yes.
working on myself and going through different experience. But I think life is perfect. Looking back now in my life, I think that everything that I lived so far, everything that happened to me so far, there was a reason behind.
Yeah.
And there was always, I end up in general, I think I always end up in a better place, even if at the moment it felt like, wow, you know, uh, why this is happening to me, this is horrible, etc. But I think then life, you know, direct me to a better place than I
Mm,
was before.
yeah, absolutely. And I often find that experience that, okay, it wasn't necessarily something we wanted, but kind of wouldn't have had that level of awareness, or before, if not for that experience as well. As well.
Exactly, exactly. That completely agree.
So just wanted to ask, so like, as like a fellow ambitious, spiritually led mother, and this is for all parents regardless of gender, but I do find it happens, in my opinion, to be more, with in this time in society with the mums. But how do you find you tend to balance leadership in finance, or balance leadership with also nurturing, very like sacred home, and like it's a whole solar legacy, because we're leading at home as well as at work, right? And there's
Mhm.
like the same person, and that's why I like to call the wealthy warrior leader. The wealth is also the home and the family
Mhm.
love. And so how do you find that balance, and
Well,
what do you
this question is something I get sometimes. Even talking, with different peers, especially what I do there are not too many females, unfortunately. But I think the key is that it's not that you. Oh, I mean, for sure, I don't consider myself any superwoman or that I have any superpower. But I think the key is to have a good team with you,
Mm.
okay, good support team, and to be very organized. Okay, that's I think these are two key things for me. And when I mean a good team, for example, at home I have an amazing nanny.
Mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that for me, without her, I wouldn't be able to work probably and work in peace. Secondly,
Mm.
okay, so having a good team, having good support at home, and you can always say, oh, but if you don't earn enough to pay the nanny, well,
Mm.
if you can at least uh, earn as much as you need to pay the nanny, I think I'm a big support. I'm a big supporter of women going to
Mm.
work, even if the salary goes just to pay the nanny.
Yeah.
Okay, or do something, even if it's. I think it's very important, especially for women that when the kids grow up and maybe they're more independent. I think it's very important to make it compatible, the going back to doing do something, work. It doesn't matter what you do, but work on something that you like, that you find you are interested in, and you can still keep home in an organized way. So
Mm.
for me, having a good nanny, it's imperative.
Mm.
So also that from one side, from the other side, the firms that I have worked so far, they have always been. There is always a degree of flexibility that you can get. For example, if you have, I don't know, the end of year show, the end of year show for the kids, no. And so you don't want to miss how your kid performs or whatever in the at the end of the year and the end of the school year, and they in the show. So they allow me to go to the office a bit later, and or if I need to bring my kids to one of them to the doctor, they allow me as well. So the degree of flexibility, it's very important. I mean, I work Monday to Friday in office,
Mm.
uh, and but they have flexibility. Okay, and
Yeah.
if I need to work from home one day, I can work from home.
Yeah.
So I think it's always, and that also can be embedded in a good team, no, and good peers. Okay, so you cannot do it alone. I mean, I think, or at least I wouldn't have been able to do it alone. But I think having a good nanny, good in getting the right support at home, organize yourself properly, because even if you have people who are supporting you, bear in mind that these people are supporting you, but you will have to probably you know put some deal of organization. For example, I like that my youngest eat in a certain way, so I have a whiteboard on the wall where I write from Monday to Sunday every meal that I want him to eat: breakfast,
Mm.
lunch,
Mm.
and dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if you can organize yourself, and this can also be called everything that you can make a process from. Everything, the more you act based on processes, the more you are process oriented, the less is your error margin, or I think that make you decrease any chance for errors to happen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think I'm a big fan of process oriented actions. Okay, so if, for example,
Mm.
want my kid to be fed in a certain way, okay, if I tell my nanny, okay, feed him, but if I don't tell her, even if I tell her what I want, she will probably forget, because there
Mm.
are 3 meals a day and 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if I write them there and I write exactly what I want, then obviously the probability to make mistake or that my kid doesn't eat what he should are lower.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think that everything that you can make it in a way automatically, and by that you mean in a process oriented mode that helps you also to organize yourself. And for example, the food, coming back to my same example, the food of my kid, I don't have to think every day on that because
Yeah.
it's already in the whiteboard, and it's the meal, the plan is varied, it's diversified enough for him for keeping that plan every for 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, and then every 6 months, yes, I change it, but
Mm,
he has a different meal every day, so it's a very strong plan, and like that, I don't have to think about that every day.
mm,
Okay,
mm.
so I think that everything, if you are organized and if you try to stick to process as much as possible, I think that helps. That helps to count on good team, and that helps that things happens in a way that you are happy with, and that helps also that you can work in peace, because
Yeah.
you need to have your mind clear when you're working. But if you are worried, okay, oh, he eating the wrong things, something he shouldn't, then that will distract me, and then I will not be as efficient as I should be in my job.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think having a good team and also a workplace where allows you flexibility, which in general, I'm not saying all of them they do, but I think in general you get some degree of flexibility in the workplace, especially after the pandemic.
Yeah.
So that's, I think that's the key. So to sum up, it would be that be very organized and have a good support team,
Absolutely.
both
Great.
in at home and at work.
Home and work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
Exactly.
love that. It's great. And it's interesting because in my entrepreneurship coaching that I was teaching on this week, we were talking, I was teaching about systems and processes, right? Like in terms of like there's like a funnel, like okay, someone wants information, and yes, you can reach out to them, and people want that human like engagement. I'm sure you have that with your clients, right, in finance. But at the same time, we need some things just to be automated because it gives you peace of mind, and it's kind of like it's going to be the same information, like you said, the meal plan. It's going to be the same, so you don't need to think about it every week, and that can make a big
Exactly.
difference to your life. So having that automated, having as much of it automated, you can then add in extra, input if
Exactly.
needed. But at least okay, this is covered, and it's and probably over time you can always refine it, right? Like because you also get a pro at it, you're doing the same thing, rinse and repeat, so you're like honing it as well. If there's anything extra you want to add. um
Exactly. But it's not
thank
something you do every day. You do, you
Yes.
know, every 6 months maybe, or space it enough in order not to have to occupy your mind
Yeah,
often on that.
absolutely. And would you say that you do that at home, as like I know you do that at work, but other ways, just other things that you do to help to organize like the home or work, other whether it's like tools or resources or like methods that you follow, like like I don't know, family activities for the next 6 months or something like that, or do you keep that
Well,
more?
I plan the activities of my kids, so they have Monday to actually Sunday, all the activities planned.
Hmm.
And I tell, for example, my nanny, okay, on Monday they need to do this. Tuesday he needs to do this. So then she knows exactly all the activities. So I apply the same organization to that I apply to meals. I apply to also activities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is also, I have, for example, another thing I do in order, for example, one of the kids gets sick. I do have a private pediatrician that I pay for an
Mhm.
annual subscription, which is people will think, oh, that you need to be able to pay, but we are talking about 500, 600 pounds a year.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not an affordable.
Yeah.
So, and that obviously is not that I can call her. I call her every day, but when there is an emergency and I need, her opinion on something specific, I call her, and I know she's there, so I don't have to go crazy. Maybe running to the A&E, or maybe sometimes kids get sick in I don't know, on Saturday 9 p.m. Okay, so you want to, I can text this lady and she will reply to me soon, so or I can call her and she will reply.
Yeah.
So, things like that, things in place that gives you peace of mind. And, one of the things that obviously is always there is, okay, your kids to be healthy. Okay, so because kids get sick because of all the bags that there are at school, at nursery, etc. No? So having in place, for me, for example, as I give you example, this emergency line that I have with this
Mm.
lady, with this pediatrician, it's also peace of mind. So everything that I can, it's always like saying, okay, you hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst.
Yes.
Okay, so no, it's not that you're gonna think the worst is gonna happen, but say, okay, if they get sick and I need help and I need
Yeah.
quick help, okay, I know I can call her.
Exactly.
Okay, so things like that for me, it's important to have at hand. Okay,
Mm.
so I try to to basically think ahead of things, of problems that they can happen,
Mm.
uh, and try to prevent them. No,
Mm.
so the one of the things is, as I say, this emergency line, but that can be up. For example, if my nanny calls sick, I have also a replacement nanny that I
Mm.
know
Mm.
that I can call her. And I mean, obviously, I can guarantee that she can guarantee me that she will be available when I need her, especially if there is a short notice. But at least I increase my chances that there is one or two people I can call in case that I don't have uh, my nanny falls sick and I need to go to work. So
Mm.
you always try to have some plan A and plan B as well.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
for me, I'm a big fan of plan B, even plan C as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because that gives you peace of mind, that you will have a solution when when something goes wrong. And as much as you try to control everything, you cannot control everything because there are things that are completely outside your control, your
Yes.
power. And for that, the only way you can deal with that is plan B and plan C. And,
Yeah.
and this is something you were saying. Okay, things that I do at work. Yeah, at work I always, my job is that I'm a trader, no. So you always manage the risk of what you do, no. In order not
Mm.
if something makes you lose money, okay, you need to manage that risk in order not to lose a stupid amount of money, no. So you have limits. You need
Yes.
to be very careful, no.
Mm.
So managing the risk, and so the concept of risk management, I think this is
Mhm.
something that I bring from work to life. Okay,
Absolutely.
so manage the risk, and the only way you can manage the risk is to have plan B or plan. But the only way, probably, is not the only way. The way I do to manage the risk is to have different alternative if the main one doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, thank you. That's really, really helpful. And I'm glad you mentioned that because, I have a lot of, say, patients or clients where they're either on the more creative flow, spiritual plane, which is great. And that's where the creativity comes from. Or they are, like us in terms of the organization, it's more streamlined, structured. So we need both basically, right? And that's where I feel balanced leadership comes in. So it's interesting because I'm always saying how, yes, you even creativity needs some sort of structure, even to be creative,
Mhm.
like you said, your mind at ease. We need, like, the nervous system needs to be calm. Well, what makes my nervous system calm? Okay, like right now my kids are, like, I'm at my parents' house and my parents looking after them, right? And they're looking after them, and you might have my mom coming in and out of the background because I'm in her prayer room, just like I need to my prayers. But like for me, I'm like, okay, that keeps my nervous system calm because I'm in alignment with my values, right? Like, oh, this is the kind of work how I want to do. I had my morning medical clinic, I've got my afternoon medical clinic, but I wanted to also do it in a way in this phase of motherhood. Like, how do I do that? I don't want to be constantly in like an emergency with my kids just waiting and that kind of thing. I'm always saying how systems and processes are good,
Yeah,
and you need them because actually allows your creative. You can be both. You can be very structured and be very creative.
definitely. Yeah, it goes. It's not mutually exclusive. I mean, the two things you need to have because following one of the example, the replacement nanny, she might not be available. My
Yes.
replacement nanny when I need her, so I need to be creative then.
Yes.
In that case, I need to maybe work from home on that day and try to okay that day I might be able to work after 9 p.m.
Yes.
Uh, you know, try to find another solution or ask a colleague to cover me on during the day with short notice.
Yes.
So I cannot count on family, unfortunately. But
Mm,
so if I cannot find the a solution in terms of nanny replacement, well, I will have to be creative with somehow with my work schedule and be
yes.
able to be with my kids. Obviously, the kids cannot stay alone. That's definitely the
No.
bottom line.
No, yes, yes, exactly. No, but it's true. It's like, and I think even as they're older, like, okay, physically they might be able to stay alone, but even just still, there's that emotional need, and their carers that they have on a regular basis. And I think it's great, like as a family, isn't it, that you have, because it's family isn't always kind of just blood related. It's also the other people that are, like you said, it's your team, right? It's your team
Exactly.
that are
Exactly.
helping you, forward in things. And people have that definition of family in different ways, or team. But for me, I'm always like, family is the first team, but it doesn't have to
Yeah.
mean it's a healthy family, if that makes sense. It has to be the healthy relationship. Some people would love to but not able to, or whatever the reason, but it's whatever creates that beautiful cohesive unit. And especially
Definitely.
in challenging, turbulent times in society, like that being, as you said, like a process, like in entrepreneurship, like automated, basically, like automated love, but like, yeah, kind of like automated structure, right, as much as possible, really forms the emotional stability for the family, because you're like,
Exactly.
okay, this is the constant, yeah, and then, when you said you will work after 9 p.m, etc., I mean, that's probably like once in a blue moon, right, because of the system. So it's not like deep
Yeah.
resentment on that day. It's like, okay, well, this rarely happens, so it's okay. Like, it's
Yeah, exactly. No, it can happen. It can happen also for other reason because I have some days they are busier than others. But there is always. Uh, I think there is an expression in English: when there is a will, there is a way, or something like that. Okay, so I think you always find the way. And again, this involves your creativity to find a solution. So, and in general, because unexpected situation rarely they last for. I mean, it's not that okay. Oh, I have no help for the next year. No, I might not have help for 1 or 2 days because someone is sick and I cannot get help. But in general, it's a short term fix that you need to go ahead.
absolutely, absolutely. So, tell us a little bit more about. I know you've your charity, so I'd love to know just a little bit more about how you're weaving in your, especially with everything else that you do with work and home and
Mhm.
everything and teaching. I'd love to know, how do you weave in that, like, impact that you're having, your service, obviously the financial acumen, because it's an organization, right? We need to run it well in order to be working well. So into your kind of, like, I like to call it divine mission, or sometimes we call it seva. But how do you sort of weave it all together? And also just tell us a little bit more about your charity as well.
Sure. So basically, charity officially started a couple of years ago before, but we've been working about 4 years on it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is, and I say we because we are 5 trustees there. So what we do is we focus on hopefully preventing domestic violence on children. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and because prevention is a whole topic in itself.
Yes.
Okay, so and it's not obvious. Okay, that's why numbers, unfortunately, they don't go down; they go up year on year
Mm-hmm.
on of domestic violence on kids. And so what we've been working for now for years, but we are, thank God, at the end of the road. Is on a technological device, okay, like a smart bracelet, where it detects when through different, through a mix of vital signs and artificial intelligence, it detects when a kid is in danger,
Mm-hmm.
and that device can call for help
Mm-hmm.
for either social services or the police, and that they can go and assist that child almost in real time.
It's incredible.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been a huge amount of work because obviously the five of us, we have full-time jobs.
Yes, I
And
know.
so we do that outside, normal office hours. And it was difficult to, because, and the reason why I say we are almost at the end of the road, because that the MVP was ready literally this week. So
Oh, right.
so
Okay.
the
That's in time for the
so
podcast.
thank you. It was yeah, it's finally ready. There are some small touches, but it's ready. So, but it took a huge amount of time to put that together, especially initially the financing was quite high and we couldn't find
Mm,
because it was a bit of the chicken and the egg issue now. Okay, or oh, we love the idea, people were saying, but we want to see the MVP is I didn't know what the MVP was until I start all this. So just in case someone doesn't know, is it means the prototype basically, so that of the device. So if they want to see a device, yeah, a
yeah.
prototype,
Yeah.
something working. And they say, oh, we love the idea, but we want to see prototype. Okay, well, but to the prototype, we need money. Oh, okay, no, you need, I won't, we cannot finance anything unless we see the prototype. So it was a chicken and egg issue.
I know. Yes.
Uh, but at the end of the day, the five of us, we financed the project.
Yeah.
We were
Oh,
lucky that with this explosion of AI and so many apps that they came into light, that helped us to reduce the cost significantly
yes.
from the first quote we got 4 years ago to the last quote that we got a year ago when we finally got the manufacture of the
Mm,
prototype. So so basically, yeah, we finance ourselves. We say, okay, we don't want to ask money to anyone. So, and obviously we are not doing this because nobody from the charity is expecting to earn any money.
mhm,
Obviously, this goes without saying.
mhm.
Okay, so we have zero admin costs. No one is touching one penny. In fact, we are all putting money from our own pocket.
Interesting. Yeah.
So we finance this MVP, this prototype, and hopefully we should be in a position in August to show it to local authorities,
Mhm.
and hopefully they decide to do a pilot, and hopefully it saves life, because
Oh,
that's
it will. It will. It's amazing.
the end goal. So yeah, so it has been a long project, and to be honest, the technology can be applied also to domestic violence for adults as well. So it's not just the same technology you would apply for
Yes.
adults as for kids. So it can be. I mean, there are more uses that can be given to these technologies. So
Yeah.
yeah, so this is hopefully. Hopefully it works. I mean, we put all our
It will.
passion
It will.
and
It will.
effort and all our energy on this project. And yes, and it was developed at the end from a collaboration from a company in Uruguay, which is where I'm from,
Oh,
and China. So we got very good, two very good developers, one from the hardware and one for the software, and they work very well together. I mean, this was like even if we put together two companies that they didn't know each other, they work incredibly well together. So I guess that's a sign of the universe that this has
yes.
to
Just about to
happen.
say that. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's good that you asked me now, because I can say now that this week the MVP was done.
Oh, that's
So
so lovely. Well, congratulations and thank you for
thank you.
doing that for the
Thank you
world.
so much for asking. Yeah.
I
Let's see.
really
Let's
feel
see. Let's hope it saves
it will,
lives
it
as
will,
we
it
hope.
will. I really feel we are all here. We all have our own divine mission, whatever you want to call it, purpose, goals. But I really do believe that we're all here uniquely to do something. And it's beautiful when we're also able to do that alongside, like motherhood and wife and career. And it's a bit hectic at times, but it's also beautiful in that, like, wow, like there's just so
Yeah. You know
many
what?
ways of
If
serving. Yeah.
one
Sorry.
comment I want to make is the more you do, the more efficient you become.
Yeah.
So sometimes people say, oh, you do all that. Well, actually, when I do less, I became less efficient. I mean, when you do more, is when you become more efficient. Funny enough, it's like your resolution time. I mean, the time it takes you to sort out something, it becomes much shorter when you do a lot of things. And actually, you do it accurately. It's not that you lose in quality, but and it's not that you do
Absolutely.
it faster and worse. You do faster, and actually, you become more efficient. You do it
Yeah.
right.
Oh, it's such a
So
good point. And I think just on that, and I feel like the it's like what you were saying earlier about like the systems and processes, like what you're doing at work is kind of what you're doing at home. Okay, it looks different, but it's the same principles, right?
Yeah,
What's urgent, what's not urgent. So actually, the more you're doing that, but in different ways, it's basically just rinse and repeat, isn't it? So you can actually do it in more ways. You can serve in more ways. You can then
exactly.
teach it to others and who want to learn as well. So actually, I completely agree when people ask me like, how do you do like medicine and motherhood like you, and do your coaching company and this and that, and I'm just like, well, it's not actually, it's just an extension of what I'm already doing. It's not any, like, even this conversation with you, it's another conversation which I might be having with a patient when I talk about anxiety and stress. Okay, you don't have anxiety and stress, but if I was talking about work and motherhood, it leads into this because this is the core of it. They're stressed because they're trying to manage home and work, and they don't work in a flexible place. And it's then we identify that's the piece that needs to change, right?
Exactly.
What is
Yeah,
it?
no, exactly.
And the same
Exactly. No.
with my coaching, it will be the same thing. Like maybe the piece is more around earning capacity, right? So when you're actually in a role where, yeah, money is important. Money's not a bad thing. It's how you use it, right? Like I feel like becoming wealthy warrior leaders, it's not like, oh, money's a bad thing. It's how you use it. And actually it's a great vehicle. Like, look what incredible things you've done, right? And one of the reasons I left my NHS mental health role, which I loved, but again, it was kind of money. It was like, do you know what? I'm going to build my own company, have my own funds, and help that way because I have more control. I can implement my ideas, and it might take me a lot longer, but then I'll be able to then, eventually help more, even if it's through my free content or this podcast, right? Or whatever it is, and through my actual, membership and coaching, consulting, all of those things. So it's just different ways of helping. And I do feel like you need that as a vehicle. Otherwise, you might still be looking for funding, right?
Exactly, exactly. Oh, yeah, yeah. You need to find this exactly. That was extremely frustrated. I mean, I can talk for hours while we were going in that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you just need to find the no solution. Say, okay, well, AI is developing a lot. It might be a
Yeah,
way of getting there in a way that we can afford, the five of us. And to be honest, the budget went from quite
yeah,
expensive to affordable, and
yeah,
there is a big gap there. So, and you just need to find, also the good provider, because unfortunately, some firms, they try to maybe take advantage of that. So, you just need to find the right one. And once you find the right ones, things become easier. So, but
yeah,
you need to keep searching. As
yeah,
I say at the beginning, nothing that I did work at the first or the second or the third attempt. I have
yeah,
to try many, many times
yeah.
before I could find the right one.
Yes, absolutely. But then that's the way I see it in a wealthy world leader. That's the resilience, the determination,
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
patience, the gratitude, while still you like surrendering and detaching from it, whilst also still taking action. Like it's an art, isn't it? It's not like
Mhm.
we can't be like, okay, fine, God, you sort it out. I'm just going to sit here. It's like, no, no, no. Okay, I trust God, so therefore this plan feels right. So I'm just going to go all in with this until I know anything different. And as you said, you've got to have to keep. For me, I feel when it's divinely guided, I feel like, well, this didn't just come into my mind for no reason. It must be the right way. And ironically, maybe a role in finance and dealing with, probably all the work that you've done there, just team management, leadership was maybe helping with a charity, and do you know what I mean, and vice versa, right? So it kind of puts us on a path of like, okay, you need to do this mental health role. It's not about this role, but it's other things further along the line, and along the way many people get helped, and along your journey, and some people go and some people come, and it's a beautiful
Yeah, you
journey.
go ahead, and you cannot leave things to that they to lose enthusiasm. So
Yeah,
you need to keep pushing, because if it doesn't work at the first, it might work at the 10th,
yeah,
okay, and it might work at the 20th. But we
yeah,
work. The only way it will not work if you give up at some point. Okay.
absolutely,
So,
exactly.
but obviously, no, and if you are doing the wrong thing, no matter how many times you do the wrong thing, you will get the same result. But if you change every time, you look from a different angle, different places. For example, this provider that we find in China is excellent. Before we were looking in another country. That country, I mean, cannot talk about a country because
No,
two
no,
or
no,
three didn't work, but these
correct.
two or three providers from that country didn't work. So we say, okay, let's try in another country. Okay,
Yeah,
so try something different, because if I keep trying the same providers, obviously it will not work because they were the wrong one.
yeah,
So
exactly, exactly. Oh, it's incredible. Well, I would love to expand this conversation further, but I feel like we need to have another episode. I have my clinic now, and we've got kids coming back from club soon and things like that. But I
No
just want to
worries.
say,
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
thank you. I'm so glad, and thank you for sharing everything. Do let us know if people wanted to find out more about your charity organization. Where's the best place for them to reach out to you, like a DM on LinkedIn or?
Yeah, DM LinkedIn is good. I reply on LinkedIn, so if you put my name and last name on LinkedIn, yeah, they will find me. Irene is my name, but Irene, people call me Irene. Irene Perdomo, and the LinkedIn is a very good way, and I'm responsive. I'm the type of person who reply. So yeah, I'm happy to be contact. I think it's a good way to start a chat through LinkedIn, and then we can move to WhatsApp or whatever. But definitely LinkedIn is I will reply. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And if you as a listener want to start your divine mission and you want to also do the healing work, all the inner work that Irene was talking about, so the healing work to earn well, because wealth is a big part of it, and having control of that and being a wealthy warrior leader and leading through life in that, leading at home as well as leading yourself and your global business service organization, then come and join us in the membership. It's only $37 per month, so Legacy Leaders Circle, and you can just DM me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn as well. So thank you, Irene, again.
thank you so much.
I feel like there is a calling of a second episode, but we'll see.
Very happy to anytime. I have so much respect for what you're doing, and so much respect for you as a woman, as a mother, as a professional, so as an entrepreneur, which is probably one of the most challenging things to do work-wise, to be an entrepreneur. So anytime, it's my pleasure. Honestly, my honor to be part of it. Thank you so much for having me here.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.